The award-winning crossover is off and running. It is where In the Zone meets Open Mic. Mike still finding his way through illness, fighting his way through to chat with all of us today. You're a tough man, Bianchi.
You know, I would never miss the crossover. I play hurt when it comes to the crossover because I know how much the tens of thousands of listeners look forward to this segment each and every week.
Nobody crawls out of bed and to their studio 4 steps away quite like you do, Mike.
Right.
All right. Do you want to get us started, or would you like me to tee up question number 1? I have a feeling there's going to be a little crossover with our questions today.
I'll get us started because, you know, I'm fired up again about the Orlando Magic now that I've held them accountable last week when they went on that 3-game losing streak. I was the only media figure in town who said this is not acceptable. And, you know, you guys were all, it's okay, pom-poms out, rah, rah, rah. And lo and behold, the Magic responded to my call out. I held them accountable, and now look at him. Now look at him, Krabby Krabs. A half game out of the 3 seed, two games out of the 2 seed. They're playing physical. They roughed up the Pelicans on the road. Kravitz, I think this team right now, if they keep that edge, which I think they will, they are physical. They are nasty. I think this is a team that not only is going to get into the playoffs with a high seed, they're going to make some noise because their style of play travels in the playoffs. Your thoughts?
I tend to agree, especially if the seeding stays where it's at. There are a couple of teams that I think would give the Magic real fits in round 1. And I would assume when you say make noise, you mean a play in a second playoff series. That to me is making noise for the Magic.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Win a series and maybe win 2 series. I don't know.
I mean, if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, wheels up. We'll go crazy on this station. But if they just make it to round 2, that's something that we haven't seen in 13, 14 years. So that's good enough for me. And that's noise. If you make it past round 1 and you're knocking out some good competition, I agree with you because of the matchup. And we've seen it over the course of the season. If they end up playing against the Cavs, they match up pretty well with this team now. They're a defensive-minded team. They're not special from 3-point range, and they've dealt with injuries over the course of the season. I think they can beat Cleveland. I feel a lot better. Bring on New York. I am ultra confident that the Magic would buzz through the New York Knicks. They beat them 3-1 in the season series. I would have no issues with that. Full-on confidence that the Magic would win that one. Where I get into some trepidation is Joel Embiid is back. Now it's going to take quite the run in order for them to move up to the point where they would play the Magic if the Magic stay where they are. I don't think the Magic would beat the Sixers with a healthy Joel Embiid in round 1. And who the hell wants to run into the Miami Heat in the playoffs?
I
want no part of that. No, thank you. So outside of that, I feel pretty good about it. So I think they end up playing the Cavs or the Knicks. So yeah, give me all of that. I agree with you.
All right.
I'll piggyback off of what you just said, because I'm actually going to take this a step further and go into next season. Whatever happens from here on out, we're going to have fun with it. We're going to celebrate it. And I want to try and live in the moment when we get there and not analyze the playoffs for what does this mean in the future. We can just stay in the moment when we get there. So before we get there, now feels like the right time to project forward a little bit. The Magic
are you looking at roster moves now?
I am. So the Magic, they make some noise. I'm with you there. We are simpatico. But next year, I think the championship window opens. Right now, they've been looking at a window. They have been in a windowless room now for years. Mm-hmm. Now you're starting to see a window that's got a curtain in front of it. Next year,
there's a curtain but no window.
Next, I'm trying to really nail this window analogy. Next year, with the right move, the window starts to open. It's not only present, the window starts to open a little bit. I think if the Magic were to go after a player like Donovan Mitchell, and add that extra scoring punch, because that's their weakness. They're good at pretty much everything else. They add that scorer, if it's Mitchell or someone like that. I think next year we'll be talking about the Magic within a championship window. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's interesting, and I do kind of feel that cool air coming out from underneath the bottom of that window that you just opened.
Well, nippy in here, isn't it?
Feeling kind of cool, but I think that's the beauty of this team. I think that's the beauty of Paolo Banchero. Even though he's only in his second year, the guy has cachet. We know that. He's an all-star now. He has street cred among some other players in the league. I think Jamal Mosley is a hell of a coach who players would want to play for. He's got a great reputation around the league. We know his relationship with Luka Doncic. I'm not saying Luka Doncic is going to come here, but yes, I think the Magic could make a move this offseason to bring in a star, because I think Orlando suddenly, especially if they make some noise in the playoffs, win around, maybe push their second round opponent deep into the second round, I think this is a team that other players are going to go, wow, get to play with Paolo and Franz, get to play with Coach Mose. Let's not forget, no state income tax.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that, Mike. Jeff Weltman and company have been sitting on their poker chips for the last couple of years.
Right.
And I've been wanting them to push those, but they've remained patient. And it turns out with the state of the team, they have been right and I have been wrong. But now is the time, or next season is the time. You don't want to end up complacent. Hey, we've made strides. Next year, the way that you were trying to react last week, do we need to hold this team, hold their feet to the fire?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that way this year. Next year I will. And they've got to put the right pieces in place in order to get the Magic there. The window will crack open next season.
All right, let's talk some college basketball, not men's college basketball, women's college basketball. We know the monster rating that Iowa LSU got, 12.3 million viewers, outdrew the NBA Finals last year, outdrew the World Series last year. Caitlin Clark, obviously, there's a craze about her. She's a ratings machine. I'm going to put and I know this is a hypothetical. I know we're going to watch both, okay? But if you could only watch one championship game, Kravitz, say it's Iowa and Caitlin Clark versus undefeated South Carolina for the women's national championship, or it's UConn versus Purdue for the men's national championship. You had to only pick one. Which one are you watching?
It's not easy. I won't say that. But definitely.
It should be an easy question. Obviously, you're going to watch Iowa and Caitlin Clark.
I would regretfully miss that game. I'm really looking forward to the prospects of UConn and Purdue. I want to see what that looks like. The freight train of UConn that nobody can slow down against the best player in the country and Zach Edey, and a Purdue team that's on a mission after getting ousted by a 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson last season. That's great basketball. I've been following the men's tournament too closely to get to a championship of that magnitude and then bail out for a tournament that has been good, but I didn't check in until the Elite Eight. So I don't want to sound like a fraud here. I didn't fill out a women's bracket. I haven't been following it closely. I am enthralled by Caitlin Clark, and I'm impressed by what South Carolina has built with Dawn Staley. But no, that one, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's close to it. UConn and Purdue. Now, if it's NC State and Alabama, then yeah, I'll go with the women's game.
The crossover is over.
Awesome.